Oh, let me put on SoundCloud. All right. Hi, everybody. I am very excited because today is the first day of our new podcast, and it is called NARC, Now Allowing Real Conversations. And let me tell you something. You're going to love this because we have a special guest who's going to be with us each week. He is my husband, Tiger Moonstone.
I thought it was another special guest.
No, you are the special guest, baby.
But I'll be special every week.
You're going to be special every week.
Okay,
You are so
like
you are so special and unique, and I just want to let everybody know that what we're going to be doing is taking your questions as well as sharing our experience, because we've had a lot of experience in our relationship. How many years, baby?
2 years.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry, 10 years. I can take that.
We're going to tell y'all what was really happening at year 2, because that's a whole thing in and of itself. Welcome to our wonderful. I got some questions for you. I'm going to check to make sure we're live. I'm going to tell y'all what was really happening at year 2, because that's a whole thing in and of itself. Welcome to our wonderful. Do you really want some? Go get some.
You want to know on that thing.
So, everybody, I want to welcome you all to this podcast. It is our first time doing this type of thing, and we're going live today for the very first time. My husband went to get some neuro gum so that he can get himself fully together. He wants to be energized. This is his first podcast. Y'all know me. My name is Kenya K. Stevens, and I've been on every type of podcast, hundreds of podcasts, television series, all the whole 9 yards. And you know that I'm married to 4 wonderful men, and this is one of them.
See it.
Tiger Moonstone. So, Tiger.
What's up?
What's up with you?
Well, first off, I couldn't find the little neuro gum stuff. She told me it was in the room. It wasn't in the room.
Well, tell us about why we're doing this podcast. You named the podcast.
I did name the podcast. The podcast name just came to me. It was just something that just came out of the atmosphere, out of the ethers.
Really?
Yeah.
And what's the name of it?
Well, it is now allowing. And see, that was the big word, allowing. Because if you have ever worked, interacted, dealt with someone with narcissistic traits, they don't allow shit. So we are now allowing some real conversations.
Thank you. I think that's wonderful.
I think it's wonderful.
I think you're so special and adorable. So what we're going to do today is talk about narcissism, what it is. For a long time, I've been in a relationship with Tiger, and I never really believed in narcissism because I believe our whole culture is narcissistic. I believe we're all raised to be narcissistic. I mean, we're going to go over the 9 traits of narcissism today.
Yes.
And we'll see which ones jive. We both took the test already. And so we want to see which ones jive. And I want you to find out if you have any narcissistic tendencies. In my view, we all do, because we're raised in a narcissistic culture. So let's get started with that part.
Well, we want to make it really clear, we're not saying that anybody here has the narcissistic personality disorder.
Mm-hmm.
If you do have that disorder, that is its own separate animal. You do need to go and get diagnosed with that by a licensed professional. And then there are some therapies that you can do for that. What we're talking to specifically are the 9 traits that every human being possesses at least one of those.
Yes.
So we're going to go over those for sure.
Yeah.
And as we're going over, I guarantee at least one's going to jump out at you.
That's right. And so when you took the test, now this is a funny story. I'm bringing all of this up at a time when Tiger was not speaking to me. A lot of times Tiger does what I call a punishment, but you don't think it's a punishment. When he stops returning texts, y'all know about that. Like he ghosts out a little bit for a few days.
It's called a reprieve.
Reprieve. This is a new terminology. Wait a minute.
No way.
This is a new terminology.
It's a new terminology.
So if I say something that he doesn't like, which is like a criticism, which narcissists have an issue with being criticized. They think constructive criticism is like a death blow. How does it feel to receive a constructive criticism, or to hear if I say, well, I feel hurt by that?
That's a toughie. So I can take criticism, especially constructive criticism. But yeah, when it comes to understanding why you might be hurt about something, I don't know that I'm really going to click in and be like, why does that hurt you? Because it didn't hurt me. And if I were in your shoes, I may not have felt the same type of feeling that you felt.
But now the funniest part of that is if something does hurt you, it's going to be hard for you to share that, but you're going to be acting on it. You're going to be very upset for a very long time about it.
Because I got to figure out exactly what hurt and how I feel about it.
So in my view, people with narcissistic tendencies, they're allowed to be hurt and act out and punish, but their partner is not. Is that to be clear?
No, that's, I think that may be something that you and I deal with more so than anybody else. That may be a thing with other couples. I don't know. I've never just been upset with you for eons. So I'll go ahead and give an example here.
Okay.
Let's see. What's something that you did that
one of the hundreds of things that I've done.
Just a thing.
Let's do the door slamming.
Okay, we'll do door slamming. So Kenya and I at one point were sharing a room, and she would get out of bed because she wasn't getting the attention she was looking for. She slammed the door. And, I didn't understand why she was doing that, because that's not going to get you the attention you want. But it also put me in a space of like, I'm really confused as to why you're doing that. It's not helpful. Having a conversation with me would be a little bit more helpful, but that just wasn't forthcoming. So I'm going to now retreat because I don't know what to do here. Like, you're slamming doors. What do I do? So I'm just not gonna.
Why was I slamming doors again?
Because you wanted something I wasn't giving it.
What?
You know what it was.
Sex.
Go ahead and say it.
Say sex on YouTube.
Can you say sex on YouTube?
Of course you can say sex on
If
YouTube.
You do want to... Anyway.
I wanted, and he wasn't. And so, well, yeah, so that was when we were really sharing the same bed, living in the same house, sharing the same room. And yes, I don't want to sleep in a bed with anybody who's not open for sex with me. It's just one of my preferences. Why are you in my bed? If you we were sleeping in the same bed, we had a very active life. And so when he didn't feel like it, when he didn't want to, he did not know how to express that. So he would lay there, play dead, or
playing dead. Why women look? If your man's just laying there, he is asleep. Stop messing with him.
We know men play dead. We know that men play dead. I mean, it's just that simple. But here's the thing: it was a circle of information that was going wrong. It wasn't just I get up and slam the door. It was I'm laying in bed for like 30 minutes trying to see, like rubbing on his back, like he knows that no. Then he's not saying, not today. I don't really feel like opening my body for you today. I'm whatever. I feel this or I feel that. It was no conversation. So I felt slighted, and I would get up, walk out because now I have to go to work or whatever, slam the door. He would get upset about that. But he didn't see the whole cycle of events where both of us had a communication concern. Because if I don't want to do something and somebody's like, then I'm going to say, babe, I don't really feel like having sex today. Can we do that later on or tomorrow? I'm not just going to be like
protocol. You're not just going to rub on somebody. He was going to know what that means.
He was in fight, flight, or freeze.
But that doesn't mean anything. Anybody can just rub. I have people all the time that come in and just rub on your back, be like, "Hey, you know what?"
You're
That
laying
doesn't.
it. Are you laying in bed naked with them?
No, no. Why would I be laying? No, absolutely not.
Okay, so you
Well,
and I
that's
are
the
laying
thing
in bed
because
naked.
there's no communication to say that just because you started rubbing on me that that was the indication. Like that's the hey, ding, ding, ding. Like let's get it on.
Right. So there's another step in the
Yeah.
process. So there's a step in the process, the step, and then the step before that in the process was where we're going to be together sexually every day. So there's a lot of steps in a chain of events that leads to all of these circumstances. But when it drills down for a person maybe with narcissistic tendencies, it's my fault because I slammed the door. It's not like a whole chain of events that both of us were involved in. Does that make sense?
Yes, but you're alluding to the question that I stopped talking to you. After all of these events, I just was just like, I'm out. I'm just not talking to you anymore.
That's not what it was. After all of those events, you started to remove sex from the relationship.
No, we're not even on that. We were talking about me not talking to you any longer about uh ghosting.
Okay, no. So what I'm saying is that you apply punishments
Right.
instead of
That's
having conversations, just like I applied a punishment instead of having a conversation. Slamming the door is a punishment instead of having a conversation.
right.
Not returning somebody's call is a punishment instead of having a conversation. Breaking up is a punishment instead of having a conversation. Deciding you're not going to go on vacation anymore or you're going to move out of somebody's house is a punishment instead of a conversation. And we're both guilty of that.
Yes. But I'm telling you right now, if it came down to it, I'm gonna still go on the vacation and I'm gonna order 2 drinks for both of us and I'm gonna just drink them both.
So you're coming to my birthday?
Maybe.
He already said no. I'm not
No,
trying to play this game. So look. Let's get into the 9 narcissistic tendencies because this is really big for me that you have owned some of this behavior. There's many men out there and women. 50% of narcissists are women. 50% are men currently in today's psychological analysis percentages. So I think it's really big that you're owning up to some of this stuff, and it makes me feel like we can actually make some progress. Okay, which is why we're doing this podcast. Yeah, and we also want to help others. Tiger is more than willing to speak. He has spoken to many women about their man, their narcissistic man, and how to deal with some of that stuff. So let's get into these tendencies, right?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. So number 1, grandiosity. That means they have an exaggerated sense of self-importance, exaggerating their achievements, and expect to be recognized as superior without commensurate achievements.
That's not a participation trophy. That's a real why are you laughing at that? That's that exaggeration of it. That is taking, even the slightest thing, just blowing that crap up.
Mm-hmm.
Can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. I have to make sure. Some people.
So you don't feel you have that trait?
No.
Okay.
No,
Neither do I.
I'm not grandiose.
Okay. Number 2, fantasies of unlimited success, preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love.
Yeah, I don't think I've got that one either.
I think that's where we disagree.
What are you talking about?
Because I don't want to say that you have it for sure. I can't say that from outside of your body.
No.
But I think he has the idea of ideal love. Like he told me one time he's looking for the perfect woman.
I think everybody looks for the perfect partner because everybody has an idea based off of our conditionings, based off of Disney, based off of what we see with our parents, or you watch music video and what's the name of the November Rain? That was a good one. Yeah. Prince did it too. But anyway, they get these picture perfect ladies and they go after them and they are successful and they're like, oh man, that's what I want for myself. So there is the idea of what we feel is the perfect partner.
Right.
Even though that's not really a thing.
But perfect for a narcissist means unflawed. And they don't really understand that humans are both good and they have challenges. Like both in the same body. In fact, we've gotten into a lot of scuffles about both and. I am both perfect and I have things that I'm working on. They don't understand that concept.
I will never understand that concept. Never.
That's so interesting.
No, I will. No, I won't.
Well, that means that number two for you is a yes, because it's a fantasy world that one would have to live in to think there could be a person with no flaws.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So number three, a belief in being special, belief that they are special and can only be understood, and that they're never going to be understood by normies, and that nobody understands them, and that they should only associate with like other high status people or people on their vibe that they can understand. But these are few people, like really nobody.
Yeah, that's definitely me. My mama said I was special. You just sound special all the time. You said I was super cute and special.
I think you're special and unique, and I think everybody's special and unique.
Yeah, but I think for that one, it is that second part that you were alluding to, where you're not understood by anybody.
Yeah.
And that's not accurate. That is a feeling that people with the narcissistic trait will have, that, hey, you know, I went through this experience. Nobody else will understand me. Though nobody else has been through it to the same degree, to the same level and magnitude that I went through it, even though it happened to people every single day.
And that lends to a lack of connection with others, because nobody's on your level. They don't understand you. They don't know what you've been through. They'll never know you. That leads to a lack of connection and isolation.
It could, until you find the right person who's been through some shit, and then you're just like, oh, you're my kindred spirit.
Right. And that's what I was going to say when you were saying you're looking for the perfect woman. I was like, who are you talking to? Look at me. I'm cute. I'm brilliant. I'm rich. I'm a great mother. I'm like, what else would we possibly want here? Like, I don't know. But I've gotten to the bottom of it with this. It is not a realistic expectation.
No.
So number 4, are y'all assessing yours? Number 4, the need for excessive admiration requires excessive admiration to maintain their sense of self-worth.
That's definitely not me.
Okay. I don't feel like that's me either, but I do like admiration.
You do? Mm-hmm. I think every human being likes admiration.
Right.
But is it the admiration or the excessive?
I think excessive admiration means they can't deal with criticism, meaning it can only be admiration. If it's anything else, it's like it messes with their self-esteem. And I don't understand constructive criticism. We have to work on not letting that affect us. Like, that's constructive criticism. Yeah. So number 5, a sense of entitlement, has unreasonable expectations for favorable treatment. They are entitled.
I would say that's a no for me. I don't feel entitled, but I also don't park across parking spaces this way. That to me is entitled. If you take up 2 parking spaces, like you know, the little diagonal.
But you did that the other day.
I did not do it on purpose.
He's entitled.
No, I'm not
definitely entitled.
It wasn't on purpose. It was because I couldn't wedge the big car.
But you know, this is a trait that makes narcissists cool. Because when I travel with him all around the world, he has a sense of entitlement. He's like, we need the lounge. They need to give us free drinks and champagne. Oh, I have the gold. I'm a diamond member. They need to give us the pool. They need to. I'm like, this is so fun. Like,
no, wait a second. There's a difference between entitlement and status. I have status. When I show up, I have status.
Well, let me tell you, when we show up, every hotel, they know who he is. They know his name. And, oh, hi, Mr. Walker. But I'm like, this is real status. Yeah. I like it. So anyway, NARCs are cool. Not that you are a full-blown NARC, but your narcissistic tendencies also make you a rock star. So that's why women are so in love and be so in love with these dudes or women, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So number 6, interpersonally exploitative, takes advantage of others to achieve their own ends.
That's not me, but I know that guy.
Babe.
I know that dude.
Babe. Okay.
That's not me.
We're not going to, you're going to sit up here and say that.
Yeah.
He told me when we first met that his father said only deal with rich women.
No, that's not what he said. No. Wait a second.
Never.
Let me hit you to what my father actually said. He said, if you're going to date women, because you can date them all, and you have dated them all. He said, you dated poor women, you dated rich women, you dated, he said, just date rich women because you'll feel better that way.
But
that?
he only likes like you have to be driving a Range Rover, a BMW, or like a really nice car.
I drove BMW.
I
I just wanted somebody that was on the
he drives a Range Rover right now. So it's not like that. It's that he does want. It's not that he's trying to take advantage. It's that he wants there to be something that he can extract from the relationship, not just love. Is that fair to say?
No, I want
He's not gonna
somebody
own this.
that
He's not
when
gonna
I
own
go
this.
to the restaurant, they're not going to call it filet mignon. You know, that's what I'm saying. As, as long as you know, like some proper etiquette, and you know, we can hang out. That's it. That's all he was saying.
He's a salesman, you know. He's a salesman, and
Filet mignon.
This is a yes for me, for you,
That
for
is that is an
sure.
absolute no for me.
Lacks empathy, number 7.
Ah.
We already went over this one.
So I'm not gonna say it lacks empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Just did not know what empathy actually was.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge because you have to be taught empathy.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something that if you were trained or instructed
Mm-hmm.
on, you know, you're not supposed to feel, you're not supposed to do, you know, certain things, then you're just naturally gonna know that.
Right.
So,
but in terms of empathy, is beyond the structural delivery of it. It's a feeling. Do you care that somebody else is hurting?
yeah.
Or is it just, I just want to fix it so I don't have to deal with it? Those are two things. So these are things we're working through. I don't want you to feel like you have to answer yours. Everybody here is answering theirs. I know what I've experienced with you, and I know that I'm an empath. So I know that it's hard for you to care when somebody's having a feeling because you want them not to be feeling that.
Yeah, I don't like it when people feel things that I can't fix. Like if you ever go to a funeral,
Yeah.
and that's usually where people are really in their emotions. I've been to several funerals, and you know, I've seen my mom cry, I've seen my dad cry, I've seen my brothers cry.
Yep.
You know, I've seen all sorts of those things, but there's nothing you can do to make them feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what gets me is, you know, you do want to empathize, but how do you say, "Oh, I'm so sorry"? Do you say, "Oh, it's
Well,
going to be okay"?
let's
Like,
I want to interrupt you to say
okay,
you know how to deliver empathy, and it's still a challenge if somebody's having a feeling. But we're going to get into that as the weeks go. We'll talk about specifics because you're going to be able to help women who's dealing with narcissists, and you know how to approach you. You've taught me how to approach you really lightly with emotion, because if I bring it on heavy, you say that I'm heavy-handed.
Heavy-handed. I'm out.
He's out.
I'm out. We're ghosting.
Right.
No, I'm kidding. We're not ghosting.
Right. So number 9 is arrogance or haughty behaviors, and haughty attitudes. Like, yeah.
That's a fun word, haughty. I like that word.
I bet you do.
I do. I think it's a fun word.
It's almost like sassy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, I am curious to know what it is that you love about me.
Everything.
Well, then why is it? I feel like you have a hard time, and I think now I know what your traits, but like really wanting to connect. You know what I mean? In every way. And that's what women want to know about their narcissistic partners, because we're told to leave y'all alone.
Who told you that?
Everyone tells us that.
You give me their number. I'm gonna talk to them.
Well, they say that because they're saying y'all don't really want to connect.
Well, that's not true. We do want to connect. I think every person wants to connect with another person. And I think we kind of alluded to that people with narcissistic traits want somebody that is kind of on their level. And that doesn't necessarily mean a status level. That's not saying that it's going to be a financial thing. But they are saying that they want somebody that kind of has that same mindset, the same way of thinking that they might have. So, like if you know, I get a certain joke, I want that other person to be able to get that joke. I don't want to be, you know, laughing at stuff and then having to explain it. Yeah. What's the saying? If you have to explain the joke, it's not funny.
Okay. But do you want to connect?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. How do you show that within your partnership?
So I think it's the same way you were saying that, you know, you get into the thing, you do like the little rubbing thing, and that's like your way of saying, hey, I want to connect. For me, it's more action based.
Like
you
what?
Know, I'm going to do certain things that show, hey, look, I'm trying to connect.
Okay. So yours is external action. It's not
Yeah.
like physical touch or something.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult to understand when a person is actually touching. A big way of doing it for me would just be that person just saying like, this is what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
And that way there isn't really that gray area of like, are you trying to do this? Are you trying not to do this? Like, I don't know. And it leads to confusion, and
Yeah.
confusion leads to
Do
frustration.
you say that when you're trying to connect with me or any of your other partners, because I know you have other partners, when you're trying to connect with us, do you say, "Hey, I'm trying to connect with you"?
No. I was I
But
was
you
just
want
I was
us to
just
say that?
I would just look at you and be like, man, I would just want to take a bite out of your butt. And then that would be like that would be the thing.
I remember you used to say things like that to me.
Little flirts.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
very flirtatious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there was a time in our relationship where I didn't know about this narcissistic personality disorder or narcissistic tendencies. And I was just trying to fit in with your life. And I ended up having a lot of rules that I wrote out because you would always cite me on stuff and I would get in trouble.
Yeah. Rules are for fools.
Well, I thought so too,
And I was that fool.
but I didn't want to be in trouble because I would be in trouble all the time. And in trouble meant he might vanish for a year.
I'm
He,
gonna be gone for a whole year.
babe.
No, I did not leave for an entire year. Now there might have been times that, I might have just kicked off for like a month and just been now I was working too. So at the time, this is early on in the relationship, very, very early on in the relationship. I look at how this doc look. But this was very on the relationship. So we were still trying to figure some things out. And so there were times that Kenya will have a action that I was not very pleased with and didn't know how to communicate that. So I
Yes.
would dip out for like a month and then I would come back.
I remember we planned a cruise and we were all getting ready for the cruise, like I was trying to pay my money and da 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 and la la la. And I was paying because he likes
We
people.
weren't together.
He likes women of means. He likes women of means.
We weren't really together.
And so no, I'm saying like he was gonna be in my balcony room. Let's put it out there how it is.
Look, we swapped to get to the little balcony room. I had my own room. I was kicking with my son. She's in the little balcony room. I was like, all right, the balcony's cool. She was like, I kind of want you up in my space.
Anyway, baby, this is a little triggering because I mean, let's not play games. Anyway,
it's fun. It's triggering when I'm when I'm doing it.
So he vanished for 3 months. We have a cruise planned.
It's not 3 months.
Starting in
I'm
January.
not gonna say I didn't vanish, but it was definitely not 3 months.
By the time I caught up with him, by the time he started answering the phone, he said, "Yeah, I don't want to see you this winter." I said, "Why? We're going on a cruise in June with your family." And he said, eventually, like after several weeks and a car chase and all types of different things, he said because he was working out and he wanted to work out and get buff for the cruise, so he needed to focus.
Yeah, I need that gym body.
3 months absence.
Because you would mess up I had a routine.
Yeah, he said I was messing up his
real
routine.
strict routine. I have time for that.
So after that, I started a rule book so that I wouldn't make these violations that I didn't even know I was making. I had no idea I messed up the routine.
I think there should be a disclaimer before you start reading the rules. Some of these,
do you want me to read the rules?
I mean, you can read a couple of the rules.
Do y'all want to hear the rules?
Everybody, they want to hear the rules.
Okay, I'm gonna turn on
we want to hear the rules.
I'm gonna turn on my real mic so I can really get these rules in.
No, wait.
Now this is remember, okay. I did not know that you had these narcissistic tendencies. You did not know. None of us knew. So I was writing down rules because I felt like maybe he was just a dom. I thought maybe you were just a dom.
We did dom sub. That was very interesting. Because
it felt like you needed a level of control and you needed to have that. And I thought you need to dom. No. We tried dom. So here's the rules that I wrote that he would tell me and that I learned from my experience. He said, do not talk about topics that he does not like. Because don't talk about topics he's not interested in, and he's never interested in talking about relationship stuff.
Because I feel like once we're in the relationship, what else is there to talk about? We're in it.
Number 2, do not expect to receive return correspondence if you choose to share happy feelings or compliments via text. Don't expect a return text.
In all fairness, I was working at the time that she got upset because it would be a couple of hours went by. She's like, you ignored me. You don't love me anymore because I didn't respond to your smiley face.
All right, that was true. Tiger is allowed to have outbursts, but I am not me. I'm not.
Yeah. And I only say that because I kind of knew within myself when to cut it off, and you didn't know when I thought you should cut it off. So just don't even start.
I didn't know when he thought I should cut it off. So number 4 in these rules, I'm gonna move the mic over closer to you, babe. All right.
I can do the shouting voice.
I know. That's okay. Number 4, I'm gonna sit up a little bit higher.
You want to sit on my lap?
I would love to sit on your lap.
Sit on my lap.
Oh, that's sweet. Number 4 is read Tiger's mood regularly because he isn't required to communicate and will remain ambiguous.
Yeah, that's because of the resting bitch face. Is that the term? Does that work for guys? Like we have an RBN? But, I would have the face, and then Keith would come in and be like, what are you upset about? I'm like, nothing. I'm just chilling.
Yeah. Number 8, speak only when spoken to.
Now, I think that kind of fell into our dom sub thing.
That was our dom sub thing. Number 9, if Tiger triggers you, work hard on that trigger because you'll have to surpass it. He will not become aware of his own behaviors or work on his own triggers. I have to work on mine, though.
No, I don't even know that was a rule that I came up with. I think she just added that one.
Well, that came from me actually working on my triggers. And when I would say, I would like for you to see that you have triggers as well, you were like, I'm not doing that. Stop trying to fix me.
Yeah, that goes back to the other one.
Yeah. So we'll read some more of these as the weeks go on, but do you now see? I know that was a long time ago. We've been together for 10 years.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
And you've grown so much since then. That's why I don't like when they say that people with narcissistic tendencies can't change.
Well, that's the thing, that you're talking tendencies versus a personality disorder. Now, if you are a person, again, that has a personality disorder, you will have to be diagnosed by a professional. Those folks cannot change that. That is them every day. But if you do have those traits, it's really identifying which ones jump out at you and then maybe doing some steps to kind of work on some of that stuff.
What are some steps that you've done to work on some of those things? Because I know the steps I've had to take to, to be in this relationship.
One that I think was really helpful for me was really just kind of meditating on some stuff. Once you start to identify those things, you do kind of start meditating a little bit and figuring out where those things happen. But I mean, there's just tons of tools. Don't you guys offer tools over at the?
We do. We have EFT. Yeah. We do lacing. We do up-level communication. Really helps. We have a lot of tools for that. And so when we talk about this, you all know that Tiger is now supporting women in dealing with their men who might have narcissistic tendencies. So if you want to know more about that, you can check out below. This is our podcast. We're going to be live every Sunday sharing the experiences, because what I want women to know is you do not have to not be with your partner. And also your partner is still reflecting your ass.
Yeah, and we definitely want you to be with your partners. You chose them for a reason. Yeah. And if it is that narcissistic trait that you're attracted to, you need to just understand it a little bit better.
My dad had narcissistic tendencies. So of course I'm going to attract a man with those same tendencies, but now I have the opportunity to do things different within me. One big thing that's helped me is being polyamorous. So if I'm with you and I'm monogamous, I will be in a world of trouble.
That's a bad day.
Because there's nobody else to sort of check our relationship. There could be abuses that nobody's aware of. I could be dealing with it all alone. I could be trying to depend on him for everything. You go through spells where you don't want to be intimate. You don't want to do this. You're not going to talk to me. I need other people to support me through that.
Yeah. I think everyone does.
Yeah.
I think community is important.
Yes. So we're going to be talking about this stuff. If you have anything, leave it in the chat. You can also check out the link below if you want to talk to Tiger or myself about this stuff. And I am just so excited that you're doing this, that we're doing this, and we'll be sharing a lot of remedies next week and the things that we actually did to override the traits so that we could still be in relationship today, 10 years later.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So, baby, I how do you feel about this? I know this is hard. You didn't want to do it.
No, I feel great about this. This is going to be excellent. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to benefit greatly from this, get a lot of information, and they're going to start their own rule book for their partner. And it's not grandiose. That's just fact.
Well, listen, we're going to let you guys go. Our podcast 30 minutes every week because we just want to pop in to address what we're working on and how we are succeeding in our relationship, no matter the traits. We love you. This is NARC. He's now allowing real conversation, and I really appreciate it. Hi, everybody. Love you. Thanks for joining and popping in. Thanks, Leslie. Oh, I see some of y'all. All right. Bye.